There's roughly a 7 million housing shortage in the United States right now. The last administration claims they let 11 million people in the southern border. I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. I think it's probably closer to 35 million. 35 million plus 7 million housing shortage. We're at 42 million, housing shortage here between everyone that left. There's no surprise to anyone that it is, getting harder for the average American to buy a house. Where is this going to push everyone? They can't afford a single family house. They sure as hell can't buy multifamily. They're going to get pushed out to cheaper, affordable housing like mobile home parks and RV parks because it's cheaper.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Morgan Ehrenzeller, is a commercial investor based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. You can find him at ehrenzeller.com or on his YouTube channel. Morgan, thanks for taking the time today.
Dylan, thanks for having me. I appreciate the time this morning.
Absolutely. And we were talking a little bit before hopping on here, but I always like to start off at the top of the show by asking guests really how they got started in real estate.
Great question. How I got started in real estate was kind of an accident. A little bit about me. I came from very humble beginnings. I wasn't, handed down a legacy portfolio. I didn't have rich parents. I didn't have a rich uncle, rich aunt. So everything was built from the ground up by myself. Growing up, my father was a carpenter, third generation carpenter. So ever since I could walk, I had the pleasure of holding the flashlight, so to say. Fast forward what I do today, extremely thankful for that skill set. A lot of people know buildings from a spreadsheet, but don't really understand the construction aspect and how it all goes together. So when you start from nothing, no one can bullshit you on how much something costs or how long it takes. So that was, my early years. Probably put my first roof on at the age of 11. And then I made a promise to myself I wanted to change my bloodline at 13. So at 14, I created a software company. But at that time, at 15, we were scaling. It was getting pretty decently sized. At age of 15, I was making more money than my parents. I didn't know what to do with the money. I didn't want to take my parents' advice because, you want to drive a Ferrari, you're going to listen to someone who drives a Ferrari or drives a Toyota. So I quickly realized every rich or wealthy person I thought I knew at that time was involved in real estate. So I pushed myself off a cliff and I said, all right, at 17 years old, I bought my first duplex. And that was my start into the real estate journey at 17 years old. That's how I got started.
Was there pushback from your parents? I'm imagining, living under their roof and you're saying, hey, I'm going to go be a real estate investor. What was their feedback at the time?
My dad was the first one to tell me I was going to fail and I wasn't going to work. And that lit a fire inside of me.
They must have been intrigued when you bought the duplex. Were they helping you manage your portfolio at that time, or was it hands off? What was the conversations like with your folks?
No, at that time, I was 17. It's only a duplex. Like, it's really not that big. So I bought it because I needed somewhere to park the money. I didn't want to waste and piss the money away.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So I parked the money in there, bought it, went to college at 17, went to Bloomsburg University in Pennsylvania, graduated from there in 2020. I didn't really do much with it until after I graduated because I was taking student loans out to pay for my college. I, had to pay for my housing, my food, my classes, course, university, all that. So I didn't do much with it because I didn't want to bring the income in that would affect me getting student loans to finish off, education there. So I didn't really do too much with it until 2020, and then I went to a foreclosure auction. This was COVID was just happening, and I was the only person that showed up, and this was in my college town. So I ended up picking up a house for it was $10,000. There's like another two grand or 2,500 in fees. Nonetheless, I got the house for like 12.5K, 12K. Then I put 17 grand of sweat equity into it. And in about 3-4 weeks, it was worth about 140K, give or take. And then at that point, I was 22 years old. And I quickly realized, okay, Morgan, you don't really come from money. You don't have a, Harvard or a Yale degree or Columbia. Um, Probably no other job's going to do this for me at where I'm at in my life. So I decided to run with the real estate, picking up 100K in 3-4 weeks. That was pretty good money to my net worth at that age, right out of college. First couple months out of college. So that was really my climb into real estate, and what got me hooked was that big jump right out the go.
Now that deal, of course, is going to be jet fuel to any investor, right? Especially someone in the on ramp and getting going. At that point, you had the duplex, you had that property. Did you end up selling that property after 3 or 4 weeks? Was that a flip for you?
No, I actually refinanced it. I still have it. So I refinanced it, pulled out all my equity. I went and bought another 4 houses with it. So I did a burr on it. I refinanced it, pulled all my equity out. I think my monthly payment is like 460, and it's renting for 1,600 a month. So pretty healthy margins.
Yeah, that's incredible. At that point, so you'd been to the auction. Did you continue to acquire deals through the auction? At that point, what was your primary acquisition strategy?
Great question. So like 1 to 10 was a lot of foreclosures, because I hit that one out of the park because I need to keep doing this. So I was doing a lot of foreclosures, stuff like that. And then, in college too, I was hustling everything I could to get money. Like at one point, I got dogs, was picking up free dogs and selling dogs on the side because all I needed to get money for real estate. So I was educating myself a lot in college, but execution first mindset, and I was willing to do anything and everything it took to get there.
Now, when we talk about the on ramp to real estate investing, there's so many different ways to get on, right? You could do wholesale, foreclosure auctions. There's also, door knocking, mailers, etc. Right? You could JV with someone and find their deals. You went about it really. Hey, I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get my nest egg, and I'm going to go to the auctions. If you had to do it over again, would you have done anything differently?
Maybe I would have maybe changed the asset class from what I know today versus what I knew then. Now, don't get me wrong, all of those were great deals, phenomenal deals at my age, good cash on cash returns, good equity multiples, the whole nine. They were phenomenal deals. Um, but I would do it again because my first year out of college, I was building a 7-figure net worth year over year. not many industries you can do that without
Sure.
having resources or a lot of money or, getting brought into that.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
So, I mean, at 22, 23 years old, building multi seven figure, net worth year over year, I wouldn't redo that. I would maybe change the asset class, but you don't know what you don't know when you first get started. But I mean,
Yeah,
I can't really complain for at that age and what we're doing.
the seven figure net worth right out of college. I think any young real estate entrepreneur would be thrilled with. You mentioned the asset class. I know you're involved in several different segments right now. Which segment are you currently targeting in your marketing right now?
Good question. So I am primarily multifamily heavy. Multifamily is my bread and my butter, but I'm shifting focus a little bit. Not necessarily shifting focus, but opening up other arms and branches, specifically for RV parks and mobile home parks. And the reason for that is, one, I'm after cash flow right now. So I want to get a ridiculous amount of cash flow and then park it in more high growth corridor areas, so to say. But what all that looks like and why, the RV parks and mobile home parks is, cheaper price per pad than, a unit basis. So it's easier to get into. And generally speaking, there's roughly a 7 million housing shortage in the United States right now. The last administration claims they let 11 million people in the southern border. I don't believe that. I think that's bullshit. I think it's probably closer to 35 million. So 35 million plus 7 million housing shortage. We're at 42 million, housing shortage here between everyone that left. And the people that came up through the southern border, and I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but they probably aren't making the highest of wages than actual Americans here who've been here. A lot of illegals, so they're probably doing a lot of under the work type of stuff for cash. And where I'm getting at with this is, you have the 7 million housing shortage, all these illegals that come through, it's no surprise that the gap to buy single family housing and for the average American is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It's harder for them to, your purchasing power is losing hand over fist year over year. So I don't think that is no surprise to anyone that it is, getting harder for the average American to buy a house. Where is this going to push everyone? Where is this going to push the 7 million housing shortage for Americans and then 30, 35 million illegals? What options do they have? They can't afford a single family house. They sure as hell can't buy a multifamily. So they have two options. One, they're going to move in with friends and family, and they're going to live together to bring their housing budget down. Inflation is still going up, and it's came down a little bit since the past handful of years. Or two, they're going to get pushed out to cheaper, affordable housing like mobile home parks and RV parks because it's cheaper. So I'm a big advocate. That's why I'm buying a lot of mobile home parks and RV parks right now, because I think in the next 5 to 10 years, when this really starts coming home, I think that one, there's going to be a huge shortage of them, and they're going to explode from the amount of affordability, from the affordability crisis of people needing housing. And then on the flip side of that coin, too, example, um, not many municipalities, cities, townships, they're not allowing more of these to be created, especially in high growth corridor areas. Because, I mean, how often do you open up the news and you see, oh, someone bought this mobile home park, now they're developing a huge tower? Cities are capping it. They're not letting more mobile home parks come in because it kind of attracts the wrong type of people that they don't want there. Yeah, so you have this storm of everything that I just mentioned. You have a dwindling supply factor of them as well. I'm not a rocket scientist, but I know supply and demand. So I think in the next 5 to 10 years, you're really going to see RV parks and mobile home parks really start exploding. So that's why I'm positioning really heavy right now and really getting a lot of these on our books to buy and hold, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I agree certainly with the growth of mobile home and RV parks. I'm licensed in Texas, and so
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I see it in Texas, but I also see the need in other states as well, where you don't immediately think of mobile home and RV. I was born and raised in northern New Jersey, and I just see the price of. You're from Pennsylvania, right? So the price of the homes out there, in a very middle class area of northern New Jersey where I grew up, you're looking at like $800,000 for a middle class home. Probably on the low end. If you know, if you know Montclair, New Jersey. I'm the town next door, the Caldwells in Essex County.
Okay, one of my best friends lives in North Jersey, and I can visit him. That's why I know these areas a little bit from going and visit them. But that's cool. I know you're from North Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, so I certainly growing up, I didn't ever think of mobile home and RV parks just because I didn't see too many of them. But it's like who's living in these homes, right? So certainly it's not the majority of people that I grew up with. It's people that are commuting in, medical professionals or, tech or finance into New York. And that urban sprawl is just getting larger and larger. And so, people are going to have to look into different asset classes or think like real estate investors in order to get into these deals. I do want to pivot a bit here, though, Morgan, and ask you about managing these properties. Do you self-manage? Do you hire out for that? How do you manage these properties?
I self-manage, vertically integrated everything, vertically integrated construction, property management, marketing and leasing, resident retention, everything. I'm an in-house operator.
Now, for that, do you also do management for other businesses as well, or is it just for your businesses?
No, I won't manage for anyone else. I will only manage my own projects.
Got it. Got it. Any feedback for folks who may be managing, let's pick one of those asset classes, RV parks. Any feedback for folks who are looking at acquiring RV parks and managing them themselves?
I heard something in one of the groups I'm in the other week, and the guy was telling me, "Oh, I want to buy RV parks because it's really passive. You just sit there and hook the utilities up, and that's that." And I said, that's a great thing for someone to say who's not involved in the business. I said, "You have a very rude awakening." I said, "The RV park business, if you think you're just gonna, get there, set it, and forget it, and collect checks, you're in for a rude awakening." Because ultimately, RV parks, it's outdoor hospitality is what it is in a nutshell, outdoor hospitality. So unless you're really ready to start catering to someone from an outdoor hospitality lens, I would recommend not getting into it. Your majority is short-term transient stuff. What we like to do with a lot of ours is we have a heat map and we see where all of the active people go and where the least active. Where the least active people go is we actually go and we buy RVs for anywhere from $20,000 to $30,000. Nice ones, build them within the last couple years, updated. And what we do is so we buy them for 20, 30,000, put 10% down, 2 to 3K. And then our monthly payment is, maybe $250. Meanwhile, at some of our RV parks, we're renting these out for, it'll be, 1,300 a month. So we have a nice spread there and a nice margin. So that's how you help keep occupancy up during your tougher months. If you're in, the Midwest or the Northeast regions or the frontier region, winter's your occupancy and all that's going to drop, so your revenue is going to drop. So this is what we do, and we create other things to supplement this in the harsher months that we keep the revenue up. Um, so, this could be one RV park we're buying right now. We're under contract. It's along the river in Minnesota. You cross the river and you're in Canada. So what are we doing in the river there? Okay, we're renting, skis and snowmobiles. We're partnering with a fishing guy at Fishing Tour and doing revenue share with him to do ice fishing on the river. So, thinking outside of the box, from the main income source, how can you drive more revenue outside of that in the tougher months? It's a couple things we do as an RV operators when how we can keep some income coming in on the books in those tougher months where most people aren't, or shutting down for, the season, so to say.
Yeah, I think, being able to take advantage of those strategic relationships in the market that you're operating in is huge, right? Because when you talk about RV specifically, people could say, "Oh yeah, it's set it and forget it. It's a pad." But then it's hospitality, right? And you could neglect that, and that would do you in very quickly, and you'll become a distressed RV park, right? So especially when you're in RV park spaces and similar segments, if you don't enjoy, or if you're not at least enthusiastic about being a host of some kind, then it's not going to bode well for you.
Yeah, I would say that on any asset class. So if you're pretty passive on it, it will drive itself to the ground. This isn't a hands-off business by any means.
We are coming up on time here, Morgan. Any new projects that you're working on, or how can folks in our audience reach out to you or your team?
Yeah, we're actually working on quite a lot of projects. We have 168 multifamily coming in the great state of Texas, actually. So we have that coming. Another 100 units coming right in your backyard in Fort Worth. This is multifamily. Another 425 coming in Arkansas. That's multifamily. Um, Another RV park in Tilden, Texas, in your home state, as well. That's coming. Some other smaller stuff in there, but yeah, we're pretty active. I mean, we're buying. I mean, today I forgot we're buying 49 townhomes in Pittsburgh. So we're buying deals pretty much every week. But if someone wants to reach out to me, I mean, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, any social media. It's just Morgan Ehrenzeller. Or you could email me, Morgan at ehrenzellercapital.com, or you could reach out to Morgan at thecloserstable.com.
Morgan, thank you so much for taking the time today. Thanks for coming on the show.
But thanks for having me, Dylan.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.